Can you imagine rolling up to a lake in something so tiny it looks like a kid's ride-on toy? And then without stopping, you just keep going straight into the water, and it floats like it was born there? No trailer. No boat ramp drama. No, wait, do we bring the paddle? Just you, a weird little machine, and the kind of freedom that feels illegal. And the craziest part is, these vehicles are not movie props. They're real. They were built for war zones, rescue missions, swamps, flooded streets, and even rich people who just wanted to flex on nature. Today you're about to see some of the smallest amphibious vehicles you won't believe are real. And I'm warning you right now, every time you think, okay, that one has to be the weirdest, the next one gets even smaller and even more ridiculous. Stick around, because the last one feels like something an engineer built at 3 a.m. after losing a bet. But it actually worked. Let's start with a tiny amphibious legend that looks like it escaped from a 1960s cartoon, but somehow became one of the most famous car boats ever made. The Amphicar 770. Just hearing that name sounds like a spy gadget, right? But it was real, and it was sold to regular people like it was the most normal thing in the world. Picture this. You're in the early 1960s. Cars are shiny, music is smooth, and everyone thinks the future is going to be flying vehicles. And then someone shows up and says, what if your car could swim? Not with some complicated trailer system, not with a weird inflatable add-on. A real car that you drive to the lake and then drive into it. That was the Amphicar dream. It looked like a cute little convertible, but hidden inside was a sealed body and propellers that could push you across the water like a baby speedboat. And the funniest part, people didn't even believe it at first. Imagine watching some guy pull up to a lake and just drive straight in like he forgot how brakes work. And then he starts floating calmly, waving at you like it's a Sunday cruise. The Amphicar had this 770 thing going on. Around 7 knots on water and about 70 miles per hour on land, depending on the conditions. Not fast in the water, but you're not racing, you're casually flexing. It used a small engine, simple controls, and those propellers were like the secret weapon. It wasn't trying to be a speedboat. It wasn't trying to be a sports car. It was a middle-of-the-road machine that did something nobody else dared to do. And the best part is, it wasn't built for military stuff. It was built for fun. Like pure, watch this energy. And here's a wild story that became part of Amphicar history. A US president, Lyndon B. Johnson, owned one, and he reportedly loved messing with people. He'd drive guests around his property, head toward the water, and act like the brakes weren't working. People would panic, thinking they were about to drown in a car, and then, splash. It floats, and suddenly the fear turns into shocked laughter. That is the kind of vehicle this was. It wasn't just transportation. It was a prank on reality. Today, Amphicars are rare collectibles. And when you see one at a show, people don't just walk past it. They gather around it like it's a celebrity. Because deep down, you're not just looking at a car. You're looking at a moment in history where humans said, rules are optional. Let's make it swim. But if you think that was bold, the next machine wasn't built for fun at all. It was built for survival. And it might be one of the most charming little war machines ever made. Meet the Volkswagen Schwimmwagen. And yes, that name sounds like a tongue twister, but it basically means swimming car. This thing was built during World War II, and it's still one of the most produced amphibious military vehicles ever made. Which is crazy, because it looks like a tiny bathtub with wheels. But in the rough conditions of war, it didn't need to be pretty. It needed to work. And somehow, it did. It was based on the same basic ideas as the Volkswagen Beetle, which meant it had that simple, rugged personality. Easy to fix, not complicated. Just keep it running, keep it moving. Now picture the scene. Soldiers in muddy terrain. Roads are destroyed. Bridges are gone. Rivers are everywhere. And you've got to move people, supplies, and information fast. A normal vehicle gets stuck. A normal boat is too slow and awkward on land. So the Schwimmwagen shows up like, don't worry, I'm both. It had a sealed body so it could float, and when it hit the water, A propeller would drop down and push it forward. On land, it was a little off-road machine. In water, it was a little boat. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't fast, but it was insanely useful. And the funny thing is, people today are still shocked by how well it works. You see videos of restored swim wagons driving into lakes like it's nothing. No hesitation, no struggling. It just goes. And it reminds you of something important. Sometimes the coolest machines aren't the biggest or most powerful. Sometimes the coolest machines are the ones that solve the problem in the simplest, weirdest way possible. And where are they today? Most are in museums or private collections. And when collectors take them out, it's not just for a quick ride. It's for the full experience. Driving into water like you're breaking a law of physics. And honestly, that feeling never gets old. But now, we're going to shrink things down even more. Because the next vehicle doesn't just look small. It looks like something a secret agent would use to sneak across a river at night, with a flashlight taped to the dashboard and a mission nobody can talk about. Say hello to the GAZ-46, a Soviet amphibious vehicle that looks like a classic military Jeep until you notice it has a boat-shaped body. This thing was designed for crossing rivers, scouting, and moving through wild terrain where normal vehicles would sink or stall. And when you see it in action, it feels like a machine built for a world where roads don't matter. You're driving through mud, then you hit water, and it just keeps going. Like, it's annoyed you even questioned it. It had that old school tough design. Nothing fancy. Nothing extra. Just strong metal, simple controls, and the kind of mechanical attitude that says, I don't care where. You drive me. And what made it special wasn't luxury. It was purpose. It existed because the landscape demanded it. Now imagine being a soldier or scout back then. You're out in cold, wet terrain. The weather is ugly. The ground is soft. And the mission doesn't stop because the river is in the way. Having a vehicle like this wasn't just cool. It could literally be the difference between success and failure. And today, these things still show up at military events and restoration projects. People love them because they represent a time when engineers were not trying to make something pretty. They were trying to make something unstoppable. Okay, ready for the next one? Because now we're getting into the truly strange category. A vehicle that looks less like a car and more like a crawling, floating stretcher with wheels. The kind of machine you see once and immediately say, wait, that is real? That's the LUAZ-967. And if you've never seen it before, you're about to understand why people call it one of the weirdest small amphibious vehicles ever built. This thing was made for medical evacuation and battlefield transport in terrain where normal vehicles couldn't survive. It was low, it was compact, it was awkward, and it was brilliant. It wasn't designed to look cool. It was designed to sneak through mud, water, and narrow paths without getting noticed and without getting stuck. This was a machine that cared about one thing only: getting the job done. It had a small engine, lightweight body, and a layout that made it feel like a mechanical bug skimming across the ground. And in water, it could float, slowly pushing forward without needing some massive boat system. Just a simple, stubborn, amphibious crawl. And here's the part that gets me. When you watch it move, it doesn't look confident. It looks like it's barely holding together. Like it's about to shake apart at any moment, but then it keeps going, and going, and going, through swampy ground that would embarrass bigger trucks. This is the magic of small amphibious vehicles. They don't overpower nature. They cheat nature. They float where others sink. They slip through gaps where others get trapped. They win by being light and clever instead of big and loud. And if you think this one is strange, you're not ready for what's coming next. Because the next vehicle takes the idea of small amphibious and turns it into something that feels like a toy, but with real-world engineering behind it. Alright, you've seen amphibious vehicles that look like cars, and you've seen ones that look like military tools. But now we're entering the zone where these machines start looking like science experiments. And the next one is a perfect example, because it's not just small, It's cute in the most suspicious way possible. Like the kind of vehicle you'd expect to see driving around an amusement park. But it wasn't made for laughs. It was made to actually work. Meet the penguin. And yes, the name fits. Because this thing is tiny, rounded, and it looks like it belongs in the water. You see it and you instantly think, no way that thing floats. But it did. This was one of those ultra-small amphibious vehicles that feels almost impossible, because your brain is trained to think that anything this small should be useless. But the penguin was the opposite of useless. It was one of the smallest amphibious machines ever built in limited production, and that alone makes it legendary. Imagine sitting inside it. It's not like getting into a car. It's like stepping into a tiny pod. Everything feels minimal. The steering feels simple. The body feels light. And you're just inches away from the ground. It's basically an amphibious bubble on wheels. On land, it wasn't fast, but it didn't need to be. It could crawl around and get you where you needed to go. And then the best moment happens. You reach the water. You roll forward. You feel that little shift, that little splash. And suddenly you're floating, like a duck. Like it's nothing. Now picture the people watching you. Because nobody expects this. If you pulled up to a lake in a normal amphibious jeep, people might go, oh cool. But if you pull up in something this tiny, everyone's going to stop and stare. Because it's hilarious and impressive at the same time. It feels like you're driving a cartoon. And here's a fun detail about machines like the penguin. Because so few survived, they became collector gold. You don't just find one sitting around. If someone has one today, it's usually restored, protected, and treated like treasure. And when one shows up at an auction or rare vehicle meet, it gets attention like it's a celebrity. Because deep down, we all love the idea of a tiny vehicle doing something it shouldn't be able to do. But now, let's flip the vibe completely. Because the next amphibious machine isn't cute. It isn't rounded. It isn't playful. It looks like a mini tank that got tired of snow and decided to try water too. This is the Christie KT3. And if you've never heard of it, you're not alone. It's one of those machines that feels like it got lost in history. But when you see it, it's unforgettable. It's compact, tracked, and looks like it belongs in a frozen mountain rescue mission. The kind of vehicle you'd send out when roads are gone, snow is deep, and people's lives depend on you getting there. Now, imagine you're in the 1950s. You're dealing with harsh winters, remote terrain, and areas where you can't just call a tow truck. You need something that can move over snow, mud, and weird terrain without sinking. Tracks solve that problem. But the KT3 went even further because it could also cross water in certain conditions. That means it wasn't just a snow machine, it was an everything machine. And that's what made it special. It was built for places where nature doesn't care what vehicle you own. And here's what's wild. Tracked amphibious vehicles have a totally different vibe than wheeled ones. They feel more stable, more aggressive, like they're climbing over the world instead of rolling on it. When you watch one move, it feels unstoppable. Slow, but unstoppable. Like a little armored creature. And today, if you ever find a KT3 still running, it's usually because someone really loved it enough to bring it back from the dead. These machines weren't everywhere. They weren't mass-produced like normal cars. So when one survives, it becomes a rolling time capsule. You're looking at a rescue tool from an era when engineers were basically making mini tanks for regular terrain problems. But if you think that's strange, I want you to imagine the next vehicle on this list. Picture a compact amphibious machine that looks futuristic, like it was built for a movie scene where the hero escapes across water and then instantly blasts into the forest. Because the next one is all about style and speed, and flexing on nature like it's a personal enemy. Let's talk about the Lazarus Amphibie. This thing looks like a mix between an ATV and a jet ski, and honestly, that's exactly the vibe. It feels like the designers asked one simple question. What if an off-road quad could swim like a watercraft? And they didn't stop at it floats. They made it look aggressive, sleek, like something you'd drive while wearing a helmet just to feel cooler. Now, the reason vehicles like this are trending right now is simple. People love machines that feel like toys, but actually have real performance. The Lazarus Amphibious is that. It's compact, it's loud, it's fast enough to be exciting, and it has that I can go anywhere feeling. You can imagine driving along a trail, splashing through mud, reaching a lake, and then just continuing forward without hesitation. No switching vehicles, no stopping. Just float off, and this is why small amphibious vehicles are so addictive. They don't feel like transportation, they feel like adventure. They feel like you're cheating the world, like you found a secret shortcut through reality where water and land are the same thing. Now, where do these machines end up? A lot of them become toys for wealthy collectors, off-road enthusiasts, or companies that want something unique for filming and marketing. Because let's be real, if you show up to a beach in a normal ATV, people might glance at you. But if you show up on a machine that drives into the water and becomes a jet ski, everybody looks, everybody films, everybody asks questions. But we're not done shrinking and shocking yet. Because the next one is not a stylish toy. It's a pure work machine. It's built for the kind of places where roads don't exist and nature fights you every step of the way. And it's so small and rugged that it looks like a golf cart that went through military training. This is the ATMP, the All-Terrain Mobility Platform. And if you've never seen one, it looks simple at first. Almost too simple. Like, where's the body? Where's the comfort? Where's the normal vehicle? Stuff? It's open, it's lightweight, it's compact, and it's designed to carry people and cargo through terrain that would destroy normal vehicles. Mud, sand, wetlands, shallow water, places where big trucks get stuck and boats can't drive. The ATMP is basically the definition of small, but serious. It's the kind of machine that gets dropped into rough terrain and just starts working. It doesn't care if it looks weird. It doesn't care if you think it's basic. It exists to move things when nothing else can. And here's why it matters. Small amphibious vehicles like this aren't about showing off. They're about access. They're about reaching places that would otherwise be cut off. In the real world, that can mean rescue missions in flooded areas, supply delivery in swamps, emergency response when roads are gone. A lot of people think amphibious vehicles are just novelty machines, but these platforms prove they're not. And now, the next one is going to hit you with a totally different kind of weird. Because this isn't an ATV, it isn't a Jeep, it isn't a mini tank. The next one is a vehicle that bends, like a mechanical animal, and once you see it, you'll never forget it, okay? You ready? Because the next one on this list looks like someone cut a vehicle in half and then connected it with a hinge, and somehow it became a legendary off-road amphibious machine. This is the Gamma Goat, and the reason it feels so unreal is because it doesn't move like a normal vehicle. It moves like a creature. Like, it's alive. When you first look at it, you might not even understand what you're seeing. It has this front section where the driver sits, and then a rear cargo section that looks like it's following behind like a trailer. But here's the twist. It's not a trailer. It's part of the vehicle. And that middle section actually bends, letting it twist and flex over rough ground like a mechanical snake. So when it goes over bumps, rocks, and weird terrain, it doesn't fight the ground. It adapts to it. This vehicle was designed for military use, which makes sense because it looks like something created during a time when engineers were basically in a contest to out-weird each other. The goal wasn't to make something pretty. The goal was to build something that could carry supplies and people through places where roads didn't exist. Swamps, jungle trails, muddy fields, the kind of terrain where a normal truck becomes useless. Now imagine being a soldier or a driver back then. You're in terrible terrain and you need a vehicle that won't quit. The Gamma Goat rolls in like, I've got 6 wheels, I bend in the middle, and I float. It wasn't a speed machine. It wasn't comfortable. But it was capable in a way that felt almost unfair. And that middle hinge gave it a weird advantage. It could keep traction and stability over uneven ground where a stiff vehicle would lose control. And where is it today? It's a collector favorite. People love restoring them because they're so unusual. When you see one at a parade or military event, it doesn't blend into the background. It steals the show. It's like watching a weird metal animal crawling through history. But now, let's take a deep breath and shift into something more modern and more real-world practical. Because while the Gamma Goat feels like a Cold War robot experiment, the next kind of small amphibious vehicle is built for something that's happening right now. Floods, heavy storms, streets turning into rivers. And you're going to see why these tiny amphibious machines are becoming more important than ever. Picture a city after a major flood. Cars are useless, streets are water, people are trapped. Emergency teams need something that can move fast through shallow water and still drive on land when needed. That's where compact amphibious rescue-style vehicles start to shine. Because when the water level is unpredictable, switching between a boat and a car wastes time. But a small amphibious vehicle? It just goes. And this is why these machines keep going viral online. Because one moment they're driving down a street and the next moment they're floating through floodwater like it's totally normal. The contrast is so crazy that people can't stop watching. It feels like a glitch. Now, let's talk about the feeling of driving something small into water. Because it's different from driving a big amphibious truck. Big ones feel heavy, serious, military. But the small ones feel like you're doing something mischievous, like you're getting away with something. It's almost silly. You feel the little splash, your brain screams, "This is wrong," and then it floats. And now you're gliding. And that moment is pure magic because it breaks your assumptions. You didn't grow up thinking tiny machines can conquer both land and water. But here you are, floating. And what makes the smallest amphibious vehicles so special is that they feel personal. They feel like something you could actually own. Not a giant boat car hybrid that needs a trailer. These are small enough to imagine in your life. And that's why people obsess over them. Now, here comes another twist. Imagine a private resort, a quiet island, and someone who wants to move between land and water without walking like a normal person. It's about the flex. It's about the story. It's about being the person who casually drives into the water while everyone, their conversation starters, their attention magnets. They make people ask questions. They make people smile. Because the last part of this list is where things get truly unbelievable. We're talking about amphibious vehicles so small and odd that they feel like they shouldn't exist at all. The kind of machines you look at and say, that is not real. And then you see it floating. And you have to accept that reality is weirder than you thought. So stay with me. Because in the final part, I'm bringing you the smallest, strangest vibes of all. And by the end, you're going to have one question in your head. Why don't we have more of these today? All right, final stretch. And this is the part where the small amphibious vehicles stop feeling like vehicles and start feeling like living proof that humans will build anything if they're stubborn enough. Because the smallest amphibious machines aren't just about size, they're about attitude. They're about saying, I don't care if it looks silly. If it works, it works. Let's talk about why the smallest amphibious vehicles hit so hard online right now. It's because they create instant disbelief. You see a tiny machine and your brain tries to categorize it. Is it a car? Is it a boat? Is it a toy? And then it enters the water and suddenly you're watching something that feels like it shouldn't be possible. It becomes a perfect viral moment because it's a surprise in one single shot. Wheels rolling, splash, floating, that's it. That's the hook. And here's something even crazier. A lot of these little amphibious vehicles were not built with modern computers and fancy simulation tools. Some were built in older decades, when engineers were basically making things using experience, testing, and raw creativity. They were solving problems with bold ideas, sealed bodies, simple propellers, lightweight design. And somehow, they made machines that could drive into water and survive. But what makes a small amphibious vehicle actually useful isn't speed or luxury. It's the ability to go where other vehicles can't. It's the ability to cross a flooded road without turning around. It's the ability to move through swampy land without sinking. It's the ability to transition instantly between land and water without switching tools. That instant transition is the magic trick. Now imagine you're out exploring, not on a smooth road. You're in one of those places where the world doesn't care about your plans. Mud, water, trails that disappear. Suddenly you reach a creek or a lake edge. A normal vehicle has to stop. A boat can't help you on land, but you just keep moving. That's the dream. It's not just transportation, it's confidence. I'm not trapped here. And that's why the smallest amphibious vehicles feel bigger than they are. Because they give you a sense of control over terrain that usually controls you. Now, here's the real surprise. Even though these machines look like toys, they can be safer in certain situations than larger vehicles. Why? Because they're light. If a heavy truck sinks, it sinks hard. If a light amphibious pod floats, it floats with less effort. Less weight, less stress, less drama. And you can see that in the way these machines behave on the water. They don't look like speedboats. They look like water bugs. Little insects that skim the surface and keep going. It's slow, steady, and weirdly calm. Now let's tie everything together, because by this point you've seen the whole spectrum. You've seen classic amphibious cars like the Amphicar, built to make normal people feel like the future arrived early. You've seen wartime machines like the Schwimmwagen, designed to move through chaos like it was nothing. You've seen Soviet, rugged amphibians built for utility and harsh terrain. You've seen tiny collector oddities like the penguin-style micro-amphibians that look like toys but work like real machines. You've seen tracked mini-tank machines meant for snow and rescue. You've seen modern amphibious toy tech vehicles that feel like they were built for adventure content and viral clips. And you've seen strange military engineering like the Gamma Goat, bending and crawling across terrain in a way that still looks unreal today. And now the big question is, why don't we see more of these today? The answer is kind of simple. Amphibious vehicles are hard to make mainstream. They're expensive, they have safety rules, they need special maintenance. They can be complicated to register, insure, and mass-produce for regular customers. And most people don't need a vehicle that swims. Most people just want to get to work. But here's the twist. The world is changing. Flooding is becoming more common in many places. Roads don't always stay roads, and the idea of having a vehicle that can handle sudden water isn't just a fantasy anymore. It's starting to feel like a smart idea, especially if it's small, simple, and built for real rescue situations. And that's why these tiny amphibious vehicles keep coming back into the spotlight. Because in a world where nature keeps surprising us, the machines that can survive surprises become more valuable. So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. The smallest amphibious vehicles prove something important. Bigger isn't always better. Sometimes the smartest machines are the ones that look ridiculous, the ones people laugh at, until they watch it float away like it's normal. These vehicles are little reminders that engineering can still be playful, creative, weird, and brave. Now, I've got to ask you, which one surprised you the most? Was it the classic Amphicar that turned lakes into highways? Was it the Schwimmwagen that survived history and still runs today? Was it the tiny penguin-style micro-amphibian that looks like a toy but costs like a treasure? Or was it the Gamma Goat, bending like a mechanical animal and refusing to get stuck? Drop your answer in the comments, because I actually want to know which one you drive first. And if you enjoyed this kind of story-driven deep dive into strange machines, hit like, subscribe, and stick around. Because the world is full of vehicles that shouldn't exist, but somehow do. And I'll see you in the next one. Narrative perspective used. Second person conversational storytelling. Talking directly to you as the viewer. Putting you inside the scenes and reactions. Storytelling devices used. Strong hook to break assumptions. Curiosity gaps. You're not ready for the next one. Escalating weirdness. Vivid scene setting. Surprise moments. Driving into water. Emotional payoff. Freedom and cheating reality. A short cliffhanger transitions to keep retention. High. Best YouTube use case. Ideal for an 11 to 15 minute video with fast pacing. Lots of quick visual cuts, sound effects for splashes and engine moments, on-screen captions for the most shocking lines, and B-roll of each vehicle entering water for maximum replay value and audience reaction.